YGO Strat single card discussion is going to be talking about some of the cards that have impacted Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout the years. Today's card, the original Solemn Judgement. Judgement was first released in Metal Raiders, Yu-Gi-Oh's second ever set in the TCG back in 2002. Notable reprints include Dark Beginning 2 in 2005, Gold Series 2009, Gold Series Haunted Mine and Legendary Collection 3 Yugi's World in 2012, OTS Pack 12 in 2019, and Maximum Gold in 2020. Despite being known for its strength in the modern game, Judgement was playable at 3 from its release up until September 2009, where it was first put to 1 on that ban list. It was eventually banned in the infamous September 2013 ban lists, where it stayed until February 2018 put it back to 1. In July of 2019, it ended up back at 3, where it has stayed ever since as of this video. A counter trap card, its effect reads: when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card is activated, pay half your life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Solemn Judgement is one of the oldest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! As mentioned, it was first released in the second ever set in the game, and true for cards being released during that time, it got a really powerful effect for too little of a cost, which is funny to hear, maybe for a card that costs half your life points, but that's exactly why it's too little. Sure, at the start of the duel, half your life points is 4,000, which is a lot, but after a few turns, half your life points could be only 400, and regardless of if you pay 4,000 life points or 50, you still get that same powerful negate. And Judgement covers the second most of any Solemn card, second only to Scolding, which technically negates everything, but requires you to have no other set cards. It's not quite as versatile. Judgement negates any spell, any trap, or any summon of a monster that does not start a chain, as in any normal summon or any special summon from the extra deck, things like that. It won't stop a summon that comes off of an effect, like say a summon off of Tour Guide or something, but at the very least it can stop the initial summon of Tour Guide itself, and you can open 3 copies of it, set all 3 of them, and negate the first 3 things your opponent does. You probably shouldn't do that, but you absolutely can. The card actually did not see much play when it was initially released. I can't tell you definitively why this is the case, but for the first couple of years, it just wasn't main decked in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! It could be because people valued the life points back in the day as more than just a resource. It could be because a card like Ring of Destruction would be way too easy to steal the game with if you paid too many of your life points. I can't tell you for certain, but I can tell you that if you look at things like GOAT format, you'll see that Judgement is not played even though it is available at 3, or at least it isn't played in very many decks. From what I can gather, the card started to first see play in the meta sometime around 2007, once players could blow out games with things like Future Fusion, Dark Magician of Chaos shenanigans, and as we approached decks like Gladiator Beast and Dark Arm Dragon decks, it became clear that players started to see the value in paying half your life points to stop individual cards that would otherwise threaten lethal by themselves. From that point on until its banning in 2013, Judgement saw play in the meta with as many copies as they could in their decks, namely 1. Once Solemn Warning was released in 2010, players even would go on to refer to playing a set of Judgement and 2 Warning as the Solemn Brigade. As mentioned, the card did come back to 1 in 2018, at which point the game had changed. Going first and setting up negate boards was the norm, and the general consensus on it was that monster effects did that more reliably than traps, and so since traps didn't help you to set up the unbreakable board, they weren't really worth playing. That mindset is still true for the majority of combo decks, but for things like Control and Stun, Judgement is a borderline staple. The prevalence of blowout cards like Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, and Feather Duster makes back row decks vulnerable, and Judgement helps to keep them safe against those threats. Things like Altergeist, Paleo, True Draco, or Guru will often play 3 copies of Judgement to keep themselves alive. Overall, Judgement is one of Yu-Gi-Oh's oldest staples, fitting for the old man. The card inspired a series of counter traps by itself and has earned its place as one of the strongest and most versatile cards available to play in any deck. And so that's our look at single card discussions, Solemn Judgement. Stay tuned for our next video, and feel free to suggest some cards to review or what type of video you'd like to see. Don't forget to like and, as always, subscribe to YGO Strats so you too can become a true duelist.